everybody. Welcome. Music Scene Investigation is on the air. My name's Rich Wildman. Glad to have you with us this week. It's going to be one heck of an interesting show for you. I can tell you right now, my microphone is still having issues. It's up, it's down. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So if you see me jiggling around mic cables and all that good stuff, you know exactly what's going on. And as far as everything else goes, well, we'll come to that bridge when we get to it, I guess. That's the best way to say that today. We were scheduled to have Mr. Bill Evans on the program with us today, and as we come to that bridge right now, you'll notice that he is not there.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say. Bill, if you're out there watching, dude, what's up? We miss you.
I think we've been struck by the horrible America have decided to change their clocks back a month earlier than everyone else this time round.
I think that might be it. I really don't know, but Bill is not with us, as you can see on the screen, so we just have a lovely look at the galaxy for you there, and enjoy that. If you can spot the sun and the earth in that picture, you win a prize.
Can't we just put a picture of Bill up and pretend?
I suppose, can you do a vocal imitation of Bill?
You probably stand a better chance. You've got an American accent.
I figured you wanted to work on your accent anyway. Hey, Ian, how are you?
I'm not too well, to be honest.
That's what I've heard. I've heard this ugly rumor that you're a bit under the weather today.
Yeah, I went to my gig on Thursday night, and as soon as I got there, I practically emptied my guts into the stomach. Sickness into the toilet. And then I had to go on and perform, and then had to basically MC the rest of the night. And I haven't been very well since at all. So if I suddenly disappear off screen tonight, it's probably because I'm relieving myself from one end or the other.
Well, that's all right. And if you need to take some time, of course, by all means do so. You know that the rules around here are pretty simple. As long as you don't know the name of the song or the artist first, everything else is good.
Exactly.
And you're honest about it. So that's
I am honest.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for. Now, I know that you do have some witness statement results from last week's show when Paul Miro was on with us. Kill Casper, Rock for Karma, and Victim of Illusion. Victim of Illusion, by the way, our song of the week selectee with their track The Day That Never Comes. So, Ian, what were the witness statement results like?
Quite simply, everyone agreed with us. It was a tough week last week. It was a tough call. I think we had 3 really good songs with 3 vocals that needed work on. So from that point of view, it was a tough call. But we went for track 3, and so did our viewers.
Yeah, now, someone out there, I think it's you, you're asking, you're saying as long as no one asks Mark what song to listen to, everything else is also good.
That's right. Because I said maybe Bill asked what time.
That's a possibility.
The show was on to Mark, you see.
That is a possibility. I really don't know, but you know, it's kind of the way it goes. We just have our ups and downs, and sometimes they kind of coincide with each other, and you never know what's going to happen, but that's okay, too. We're still going to do the show. We're still going to have a good time doing it. And we got James with us here today as well. Hey, James, how are you, my friend?
I'm all right, thanks, Rich. How's everything your end, okay?
Not too bad at all. So what's been going on with you down in the English Riviera?
Well, not a great deal, to be honest. I've got a lot of revision to do at the moment because I've got two electrical exams on Tuesday. So hopefully I won't fry myself. I was just thinking when you said that Bill isn't with us today, that'd make quite a good title for an obituary for Bill Withers.
If we were so lucky, you know. So now,
how'd you make a soul singer?
Don't know. How do you make a soul singer?
You put a duck in a microwave until it's Bill Withers.
Ba-dum-bum. All right, James, I want to ask you a quick question. You said you had some electrical exams coming up. You were hoping not to be electrocuted. What kind of voltage are you guys dealing with in these electrical exams?
We're dealing with UK mains voltage, so 230.
That'd give you a healthy shock.
Yep, it would be pretty fatal, I should think, if you're on the wrong end of that. So hopefully, yeah, I'll be paying attention and won't do anything daft.
I hope so as well. I really do. So, good luck on all of the exams. Of course, this would be the time in the show when we introduce our guest panelist. We're not going to do that. We're just going to skip that part of the show altogether and move on to something different.
I'll tell you what we can do to fill a bit of time.
Well, I know what we can do. You can talk about what's coming up in 2 weeks' time a little bit to give everybody a little teaser about what's going to happen.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
We're geniuses like that.
We're on the same wavelength.
Exactly. Well, not really, because I would be running in and out too then.
You may be. After this, it could be catching via microphone.
It very well could be. Let's hope
Could be
not.
going viral.
Yeah, let's hope not though. Yeah, this could be our only viral show, and not for the reasons everybody thinks.
Okay, well, what we got going on the 29th, just to sort of stop Rich right there. On the 29th, every now and then we get a 5-week month, which kind of throws our hit list out. So what we've decided to do is take them odd weeks on the 5-week months and make it a special show, rather than having a normal MSI where we review 3 songs with the guest. What we're going to do is we're going to have all of our regular panelists on. It's going to be myself, Rich, James, and Andrea. And instead of doing the whole review process, we're going to do different things. And I think everyone's going to sort of pick a thing, and we're going to talk about stuff and talk about music and talk about producing and mixing and bits and pieces like that. But I've basically taken hold of the first show, which is on the 29th. And we're going to have the world's very first MSI quiz night.
Now, what is this quiz night going to consist of, just to give everybody a little taste for it? Maybe even an example question, perhaps.
Well, for example, we've got 5 sections on the show. Let me just call them up, and I can tell you what the sections are called. Bear with me 1 second, because obviously I wasn't quite ready for this, but I can be in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Now, Patty says, haha, he said a normal MSI. And of course, there is no such thing as a normal MSI. I think it was a misstatement.
Patty has got a point there. Thank you, Patty, for reminding me that there is no such thing as a normal MSI. So on our quiz, we're going to have, as I said, we've got 5 sections. We've got hit list or wish list.
Okay.
So, for example, if I said to you, let me think.
If you said C sharp, the C sharp band, hit list or wish list?
Yes, basically, that would be how it goes. And what would the answer to that be?
I would say wish list.
Well, if I said Nina Bradlin, you would say?
I would say hit list.
There we go. So that's the gist of that round. That's going to be quite fun. They're not all going to be as simple as that, as you might think, because I have dug some from the archives.
Okay.
Then we've got waxing lyrical. Now, waxing lyrical was going to be basically I've gone through the internet and I've got some lyrics together, and basically I'm going to read you the line of the lyric, and then you've got to tell me the writer and the song it comes from.
Not the performer, but the writer.
Well, okay, the performer, the artist associated with it.
Okay,
all right.
So, in other words, you could say, for example, "It is what it is," and everybody on the panel would say,
"Rick Brindell."
Exactly.
Now, I haven't necessarily gone for MSI artists on this in total, so there might be some that you recognise from other places.
Okay. All right. Now, this is going to take place, just for everybody out in the chat room who's asking, this is going to take place on the 29th of the month. In fact, by the way, the 29th of the month is the day that Britain and the rest of Europe catch up with us here in the United States, and the times will switch back to normal here in the United States at 4 p.m. Eastern time instead of what we're out now at 5. So everything will work fine there.
But other areas we're going to cover in the quiz, we've got an MSI general knowledge.
All right. Which
will be good. And that's basically questions on MSI. We've got a picture round as well, which I can't tell you too much about because I need that to be a bit of a surprise on the day. And we're also going to have a definitions round where I'm going to put you all to the test of how much you do actually know about music and the terminology used in music.
Now, of course, James and Andrea will both do better than I on that, because all I am is a humble host. I know nothing about it. I try to make up stuff as I go along, but you know how that works.
Just to help you out, Rich, I've taken the definitions from, or some of the definitions from the Music for Dummies book.
Ah, well, that should be easy then, because everybody knows I'm a dummy.
And you know, this is
something have to define things like flanging by any chance.
Flanging.
Maybe.
The definition of flanging is like flatulence, but people have it instead of cows, right?
Well, in England, flange has another connotation. But yeah, this is something everyone can play along with as well. They can all sort of take notes at home and see if they can beat the contestants. I'll be interested to see what the people in the chat room are coming up with.
All right. Well, we will definitely keep a watch out for that. And again, that's on the 29th of the month. That is the end of this month broadcast for everybody interested. We certainly hope everybody shows up for that, right, Ian?
I hope so.
Yeah. It'd be
unlike this week.
But no, this week is not too bad, except for our guest panelist decided not to show. But we have the galaxy with us.
The galaxy, that's all we need. It's bigger than anything.
Exactly.
Well, besides the universe.
The galaxy is huge, and right there it is in that little screen. It's amazing. Pretty cool stuff. What do you say we go ahead and get to listen to some music today? We do have a full bill of music, 3 new songs selected randomly from those who have been sent in by indie artists from around the world. And got to tell you, they are either at full length or very close to it, all 3. So without any further ado, as long as our panel is ready, we'll go ahead and start the first track today on Music Scene Investigation. You guys ready? I'm sure you are.
I think so.
All right, here it is, everybody. This is song number 1 on today's MSI. Certainly hope you enjoy it, everybody. Song number 1. That is track number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Kind of an interesting track, wouldn't you say, guys? Over to Ian as he lets us know what he thinks first. Ian, track number 1.
Okay, that was noisy. Yeah, where to start? Reverb. Lots and lots of reverb on this, and it was muddying up the whole thing for me, really. I mean, there's some good bits and pieces going on here. There's some of the drumming was cool. There were some timing difficulties in places. You know, there was some good ideas in an arrangement from the point of view of the stabs on the rhythm guitar. The bass I found very nondescript. It didn't really sort of stand out too well for me. It was all sort of muddied up in them sort of guitars and that reverb. And the drums separately, it was all over the place. Like there's places where the snare was sticking out when he was doing the rolls and bits and pieces like that perfectly, but underneath everything else, the snare was getting lost. And the lead guitar again, it was just shredding and noise. There was no real melody to it. And it, you know, after a few minutes, after a couple of minutes, it made quite difficult listening from my point of view. You know, I need a track to build. I need a track to sort of go somewhere from my point of view. And this kind of hit a level and stayed there. Yeah, the guy, you know, there's some proficient players here. But as a song, as an arrangement, I think it's sorely lacking. There's no real parts to it. There's no real sort of distinctive, you know, sections that I can listen to and then move on to and then come back to another thing and refresh my memory and move around in. It's just sort of solid and constant in its approach. I want more dynamics. I want those instruments to stick out a bit. I mean, I'm wondering if this was live. I wonder if this is a group of guys in the studio live. If so, it is very good for a live take. You know, as I said, performances are all there. But from the point of view of where this track's going and what it wants to be, I don't think that's been considered too much. It sounds almost like it's like a jam. Let's just get in the studio and let's just lay something down, guys, you know. I don't know what else to say, really. Not much else to grab hold of. It's directionless and it needs some work. You've got really competent players by the sounds of it, but without a direction or a purpose.
All right. Well, I appreciate your thoughts on it, Ian. Now over to James. James, what do you think of this particular track?
I think Ian's right. What we've got here is effectively a bunch of decent musicians that have come together and have done a jam session, have come up with loads of different ideas. And it just hasn't flowed too well because it's just doesn't have enough consistency to it. It's a bit mundane after a while because it's going from one idea to another and then repeating again. I think it's definitely great material for creating a good track, but it's certainly not polished enough, and it sounds too raw, rough, and early in the songwriting process for it to be a track, unless it's some kind of obscure prog rock movement where they're just going to twiddle for hours on end. As for the way it's recorded, it seems to be a little bit muddy, well, very muddy in places, especially when it comes to the drums, when you can hear the sound of the snare rattling away when other drums being hit. It needs to be tidied up quite a bit, maybe with a noise gate or with a bit of editing, maybe. It's nice to hear drums that are being played well, but it's just unfortunate that the recording's not up to scratch in places, and there's a lot of background noise here and there. Thinking of other things, bass was nondescript, as Ian said. Guitars were quite nice in places, especially the more sort of stabby bits, and unfortunately, it just didn't have enough consistency for it to be considered sort of consistent track, really. That's my take on it.
No.
Not enough consistency to be consistent.
No, precisely.
At least you're consistent on that. I like kind of what Tom had to say out in the chat room. He says, "Inagata Davida." It's more like out of their gata-amded minds. I don't know what that means, but it sounded funny.
I hate to ask this question, Rich, but since we're a man down, what do you think?
You know, what I think about this song, it reminds me of something you would see in a noir detective movie, you know, kind of like maybe a Blade Runner, but not really Blade Runner, if you know what I mean. Kind of like a B grade Blade Runner movie, is what it reminds me of. It might be passable in a movie. I don't know where it would go in the movie. But that would be the only place I could really see something like this, in my opinion. As far as the playing goes, I agree a lot with you guys, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective, from putting it in a movie perspective. I think it would be good back filler, because as you're watching the movie, paying attention to what's going on in the movie, the music kind of goes to the back of your mind and you really don't pay a lot of attention to it. It just kind of sets the mood. And that's what this song kind of does for me, is it sets a mood. It really doesn't, it doesn't have a melody. It doesn't tell a story. There's nothing really there to it other than a mood piece, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So that's what I think about it. Anyway, track number 1 is called Pandemic, and it's from a group called Cinema Novo, and we appreciate Cinema Novo sending that track into Music Scene Investigation. If you'd like your music on Music Scene Investigation to be reviewed by our panel, it's fairly simple to do. All you have to do is go to musicsceneinvestigation.com, click on Submit a Song at the top of the page, and just follow the recommendations there. It can't be over 5 minutes. It can't have copywritten material in it, whether it's samples or lyrics or anything like that. It needs to be original, and it needs to be in an MP3 format. I think that pretty much covers it all. What do you think, guys? Did I miss anything there?
Well, what I would say was, take some time out and go and watch one of our shows. Check it out on our site or on YouTube. And so you know what you're letting yourself in for as well, because, we're here to review the music truthfully and honestly, and sometimes people don't like that.
Yeah, it is.
Don't be put off by criticism.
Right. It is a very unbiased, very honest critique and review of all music that is submitted. Our panel has no idea what they're going to hear prior to them hearing it live on the show. They don't even know who it's by or the genre it's in generally. So when they hear it for the first time along with everybody else, and then offer their review and critique of the track right then and there after hearing it for the first time. All right, gentlemen, I have 2 more songs. Let's take a listen to the second one on today's broadcast. Here it is, everybody. This is track number 2 on today's Music Scene Investigation. Track number 2.
Liars. Liars.
Who stands between man and the truth? Our past is different.
Is different. Liars. 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 Massive liars. Government liars. Media. Liars. Massive liars. Government liars. Media. Why don't they tell the truth? Liars.
There you have track number 2 on the broadcast today. We're going to start things out with James this time around, get his opinion. James, track number 2, what do you think?
Well, that's a refreshing change to what we normally hear. I don't think we usually get too many tracks that like that with that sort of industrial sort of dance type sound. And compared to that first one, I think that would also be good in a film. Definitely provide a lot of dark ambience and atmospherics, especially with the contrast between those sort of ethereal chorus voices at the beginning and at the end with those computerized ones. Very spooky. I quite liked the addition of the guitars, although they're very muddy and seem to swamp everything else. And I think the track probably went on a little bit longer than it could have done. I think about three and a half minutes when it sounded like things were winding up. That would have been a much better place to tie it off. I suppose it's personal preference, and with a dance genre, you can keep on going for as long as possible, really, especially when it comes to extended mixes. Had quite a few problems with some of the levels in places. I was finding that the drums were a little bit low and the guitars were far too high, and I couldn't really hear some of the words that were being spoken from the computerized affected voices. But it's all very interesting stuff, and I quite enjoyed it. It's just a little bit too long for me.
All right.
About a minute.
All right. Fair enough. I appreciate it, James. Ian, over to you. Your thoughts on this particular track?
Yeah, pretty much the same as James. There's some really good stuff going on here. That sort of Nine Inch Nails industrial sound there going on, which I love. I've seen Nine Inch Nails live. They're just genius. Love the ambience. Love the darkness to the track. Those guitars, though, when they did come in, don't get me wrong, the tone and the compression levels and the way they've been produced is fantastic. But when they come in, they dominate the track. The bass kind of sits nicely behind them, but the drums got set back. As James was saying, the electronic vocals got pushed back as well. And again, I want to hear what they're saying. They're very sparse. So I want to get that message that they are giving. Obviously, towards the end, you hear it. It's liars, NASA, liars, government, liars, someone else, media. That was it. So we're obviously looking at someone who's probably into their conspiracy theories. I'm going to guess this is a home production. I don't think those guitars are real. I think they're loops. Very good loops, but that sort of stuff is readily available now. And I think they've been used very, very well. I think, the whole construction, the soundscape of the track has been put together well. Just got to work on that mix, get them vocals standing out. And it's very hard when you're getting spoken vocals like that to get them to sit on top of such chunky guitars and such pounding bass and driving drums. That was the other thing with the drums. When those guitars came in, I would have liked to hear the drum sound step up a bit. So you've got more of a live feel snare in there, and more of a sort of thudding bass, rather than keeping it all electronic. Just sort of give it more of that pushing sound and really sort of that snare driving through with the rest of the track. I did feel that there was guitars just dominated everything, including the rhythm, which, you know, is not a bad thing, but you want that support from the bass and drums. You know, I like the idea. I like the concept. As James says, they could have stopped it when it went into that little stop. It didn't have to come back into that last section. Something about who gets in the way of man or something like that. It sort of finished it on that line. End of song. Job done. Let's move on to the next one. But coming back in, I don't know. I felt that lost it a little bit. But overall, very good effort. Like the sonic palette they've used. Like the ideas here, and there's obviously a lot of work been put into this.
All right, very cool. Thank you very much. And just for everybody's information and notification, the name of this track, it's called Liars, and it's by a group called Hard Talking Machine. Hard Talking Machine.
What do you think?
What did I think?
Yeah, well, you know, we haven't got a guest today, so, you know, we kind of got to give you a say. I begrudge it, but we've got to do it. So come on.
I'm kind of used to not having a say, you know. That's kind of the way it is. I think the bass drums should have been a little bit more powerful, as Tom said out in the chat room, and I think as both you and James said as well. The drums needed to be more present, more powerful. They were a little flat for me, especially the bass drum. There was no thump, there was no hardness to it. I recommend that the performers on this song, if they were playing live drums, go back and listen to some 9 Inch Nails, figure out how their bass drums are mic'd up to get that sound, and do something very similar. Listen to a lot of other metal bands to get the bass and the drive to work on that. This just didn't have enough bottom end drive to make it hit any keys on my light up board to make any lights go off, unfortunately. I like the lyrics. I think they should have been more present. This song, again, sounds like a song that could be used in a video production, a documentary perhaps. I could see this as something here in the United States being done from one of the left-wing political parties in regards to the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, when they're talking about governments lying and media lying and things like that. I could see this being in a documentary like that.
What are NASA lying about, though?
Pardon me?
What are NASA lying about, though?
NASA is probably lying about anything they can get away with, like aliens. Who knows?
Do you reckon the moon landings? Maybe life on Mars?
Could be all of the above. I don't know.
It's a good awful damn affair.
It's a conspiracy theorist dream song. Maybe that's the name of the album it came off of, Conspiracy Theories. I don't know. Anyway, Hard Talk Machine is the name of the group. The name of the song is Liars. And one more song coming at you. This is track number 3, everybody, on this week's Music Scene Investigation. Track number 3. Certainly hope you enjoy it as well. Here it is.
She can sing, bring light to your eyes. She got everything straight down the line. Stood out in the world, young, pretty girl. Put her in a mold so dark and cold. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. She can take the change, always had good taste. Buy a ball and chain, lock herself away. She'll comb your hair her stare out into nowhere. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. On the empty street, she don't recognize, lost everything, even compromise. She's full of love, covered in smoke, looks out above. There's got to be more. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. Falling down. Falling down, falling down, falling down.
That is track number 3 on today's music scene investigation. We're going to start out with James right now and get his thoughts on this track. James, what do you think of track number 3?
Well, my computer wasn't playing too well there. It was jittering about, but in the end I managed to get what I needed to hear, and I really enjoyed that. It's a little bit slow and dreary, especially for this time of the evening in the UK, but it was a great track nonetheless. The one thing I didn't like about it was that I think it's a guitar sound, I'm not 100% sure. It's that sort of high-pitched sound that's like a siren that goes through it, maybe a slide that's been manipulated somehow. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've probably got it totally wrong there. But I felt that it was a little bit too intrusive with the rest of the track. I was quite keen on the vocals and all of the guitar arrangements. In places, they could have been lifted a little bit more. So I think we just got a case of a few level changes that need to be done on this one just to improve it a bit more, maybe a little bit in the mastering as well. And I really thought that the outro was nice, having the little giggle from the backing vocalist at the end. It just added a bit of character to it. And I'm not always a fan of extraneous stuff like that, but I think it worked quite nicely and added a bit of interest for something that was fairly repetitive but interesting. But overall, a great track. So I was quite impressed.
All right, very cool. I appreciate it. I think that giggle was there for Ian, though, because everybody knows how much he loves fades on songs. Ian, your thoughts?
Put a giggle in there. It's not a fade out, is it? You know, obvious. I really like this. Really like this. From the point of view of this is so current. If you listen to any of the music that's being played on programs like Breaking Bad, which is obviously isn't on now, or Better Call Saul, or Walking Dead, and all these sort of American series that are out there, they're using this sort of dark, acoustic, country, bluesy, jazzy music. And I think this would fit perfectly within that genre. So Pinky in the chat room said, you know, Uma Thurman could dance really well to this. And it is that sort of vibe. Tom was saying he didn't really like the guy's vocal. He said he needs to emote more. And normally I'd agree with him, But I think for this just works so well. Yes, it is dreary. Yes, it is dark. Yes, it is slow. But it sets the tone so well. You know, if you imagine listening to that with a horde of zombies walking up a street towards you, you know, it works. And it should be dreary and it should be dark. And I think, you know, they need to get this out and licensed. I think it would really work well on one of these sort of big American series like Walking Dead or something like that. Mix-wise, I didn't object to the wailing guitar. I think that was, as James said, a slide guitar or something like that. It worked for me. You could put it back in the mix. It wouldn't do it any harm, but it really didn't step on anything from my point of view. Also, like the rhythms, the natural sort of laid-back rhythms there. Nothing too big. It all cut through really nicely. The sort of slightly dirty guitar, playing that little lick underneath the sort of cleaner guitars. Everything was there. It was just really, really sitting quite nicely. I haven't got much to complain about on this at all. Really do like this track.
All right.
And Rich, what do you think?
What do I think? You know, I got to agree with Tom. I'd like more emotion. I'd like a little bit more out of the lead singer on this. I think the music was fine. As for this being on a TV show, that would be the only place it could be. It would not make it in anywhere on commercial radio, in my mind. That's what I think about it. As so far as the song and the way it was put together, I like it. I like what they were doing with the lyrics. I like how, of course, I know more about it than everybody else does at this point. I like how the lyrics is in the chorus is juxtaposed to the actual name of the song. It really doesn't fit, and you'll find out about that here in just a second as I introduce the track to you.
Brooklyn's Falling Down, wasn't it?
No, it's not called that at all.
But that was the lyric, wasn't it?
That was the lyric, yes. And Brooklyn's falling down, yeah. And the name of the song, however, is not that at all. The name of the song is She Can Sing by Son of Strays. Son of Strays with She Can Sing. Again, the total juxtaposition of the lyrics and the name of the song is really intriguing to me because I used to do that on a lot of the music that I wrote back in the day as well. So it's kind of interesting.
I think the name of the band really suits the music as well.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. But again, I can't see this anyplace outside of, you know, being licensed for television or movie or something like that. And I don't even think it would be a movie. I think it would have to be television.
And I think that's a huge market that this band needs to exploit. I mean, you know, there's a lot more ways these days of getting your music out there besides getting it in the charts and on iTunes. And if you can get a good track on a good TV program, then you can make some money out of it.
Well, there you go. And as Pinky said, I don't listen to the college hipster lounge shows. No, I don't. I don't really. You can tell that very readily by how I listen to music and what I have to say about it. All right, gentlemen, you've heard all three songs. Now you need to decide on a song of the week out of those you've just heard. This is a place where I can't give you any help, so you're going to have to make this decision yourselves. Well,
what we'll do is, seeing as we're absent a guest, we'll throw it into the chat room as well.
All right, that makes perfect sense. So the chat room is obviously represented by the galaxy in the middle of the screen, as there are just that many of them in the chat room right now. So chat room, chime in with song 1, song 2, or song 3, the one you want to have selected as song of the week, while our panel goes ahead and discusses it amongst themselves here.
Yep, so whack it in the chat room there. I mean, this is an easy one for me. It really is. You know, we've had 3 very different tracks this week, but only one track really sticks out as a finished composition that's had a lot of time and effort put into it, where everything's, from my point of view, is sitting as well as it could. And that's number 3. So, number 3, please.
All right, James?
Absolutely easy choice for me as well, number 3.
All right, well, just looking at the chat room as things go by there, I think it's going to be a pretty unanimous vote. Looks like chat room is going for number 3 as well. And Tom, Tom is making jokes about abstinence. I don't understand it, but it's apparently pretty funny according to him. I don't know.
I remember. Tom refused to vote on a track once, and you told him he had to.
That's true. That does happen. Now, of course, we want to hear what you think about each song and the way they're put together in the witness statements this week as well. MusicSceneInvestigation.com/witness is where you can do that. And you can catch all of our shows over on YouTube and on our website. If you haven't been there, you need to check it out at MusicSceneInvestigation.com. Now,
also, I mean, I just want to point out why Pinky is abstaining as well, because if you're interested in Pinky's opinion, you can check out his weekly cleanup this week and what he thinks of the show, and you can also check out the previous shows he's been doing for us for the past few weeks.
Absolutely. Highly recommended, by the way. Pinky has some very, very good thoughts on the music that he's heard on the shows. And not always does he agree with what the panelists have said. So you can hear what he has to say about them as well. On next week's broadcast, we have Tom Chianti going to be in the guest panelist chair. For those of you who've been following MSI for a long time, you know Tom Chianti very well. He was a permanent member of our panel for the longest time. In fact, about the first 2.5 years of the program, or 3 years of the program, if I remember correctly. And he will be joining us once again on the panel next week. And then after that, of course, our times do change back to the regular 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. GMT, when we'll have our MSI quiz night, and you'll want to make sure you're there for that as well. Again, congratulations to Son of Strays, their track, She Can Sing, on MSI this week. We're going to play out with that right now, so we certainly hope you join us next time right here on MSY. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll talk to you again next time.
MSY?
MSI.
Yeah, that's better.
I said I.
No, you said
said
MSY.
I said I. I said I.
What, MSY?
No, I said I. I said I. I promise I said I really do. All right,
Go
here's
back and
that.
check the recording,
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Go back and
just-
check the
you
recording.
never
Let us
know.
know what you think.
You never know.
She can sing, bring light to your eyes. She got everything straight down the line. Stood out in the world, young, pretty girl. Put her in a mold so dark and cold. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. She can take the change, always had good taste. Buy a ball and chain, lock herself away. She'll comb your hair, tell you good things in here. You'll catch her stare out into nowhere. Brooklyn's falling, Brooklyn's falling down. On the empty street, she don't recognize. Lost everything, even compromise. She's full of love, Falklands fall.